Hey, Thrand here.
Hey, this is Eldgrim, and this is the Thrand channel. Yo!
Hey, Thrand here, and today I've got a special test designed for the late century Viking sword from Medieval Shot. A while back I did the Viking challenge, and it was very, very popular. It was a short video where I used my sword, Stanekluve, and cleave through a sheet of metal, very much like the Samurai Challenge that everybody knows online. It's got millions of views. Chuck Murray brought it up the other day on Zombie Go Boom about the katana cutting through the steel and everything in the video. So we figured, why not just redo it as a nice test for this new sword that I received. It's my new favorite sword. So let's get going and see how it turns out. Oh! Nice! Come look at how clean a cut that was. That is beautiful. Not bad at all. We lost our brace in the middle, and the edge is totally undamaged. I don't have any edge damage whatsoever to this blade.
Go.
Ah!
Yeah!
And we cut our pipe straight through. Let's see if I can get this out of here. Maybe not super cleanly, but we still cut our pipe. Wasn't that big of a problem. I had more of a problem hitting the right spot because I messed up once and hit here, but other than that, we're doing great. No edge damage.
Damn, that looks good.
Sword. Excellent sword. Hey, this is Thrand. This is my silver-soldered Maille. It's 16 gauge. It's silver-soldered, which made it very expensive and very difficult to do. I did this myself. It took a very long period of time to do a big, large square section in the front. The shirt was never finished. We've tested it in many videos. It stopped all sorts of arrows, from crossbows to around 70, 80-pound bows. It's done all different types of stuff where it's very impressive. I haven't ever got a hole in the actual silver solder, except a friend of mine shot it once, and we actually put a hole in it. But other than that, it's extremely difficult to pierce. You pretty much have to break a ring, something like a lance blow or something, I guess. But anyway, we're going to try to see if we can cut it with that cast blow and tip shot. I'm just curious if it's possible to even cut one ring. I doubt it would be something significant to kill the opponent with a gambeson behind it, but if we could at least cut a ring, it would be awesome. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Oh! I cut it up top, that don't count. Oh! There it goes. The ring came out right there. I just can't catch the ring. It's falling through. We actually cut a ring out of it. Actually, a couple of rings out of it. So it is possible to damage the Maille with the tip of the sword with that much speed and power. But that's attacking the Maille. If you notice, there's no hole into the gambeson, into the cardboard we put under here, or anything like that. All we were able to do is cut a couple of rings with the very tip of the sword that has the most energy behind the entire swing. So it shows that all the energy is at the tip, because no other method that I've tried would actually cut into this. Any other method of hitting it would have just scored the rings. It would have caused little niches and nicks, because we tried multiple times today and we were only able to do it a couple of times. But that was 2 rings. That was the best one. I am very impressed. Recap of what we did today. We cut through here, which we already had one little niche over here, which was something totally different. That was from a firearm. A while back we had actually shot it a few times. But one here I hit, we ripped into it, but I think it also kind of snagged on it, pulled, popping the solder. So that means the solder is not quite as strong as the steel, the joint. And it looks like everywhere we got it, except maybe this one, no. This one here, I'm having to take it out here to show y'all. The solder is still intact. This ring was cut. So we do have a cut ring. That's possible. But from assessing our damage on other rings, these had solder on them, but this one got cut. It may have been cut past the solder point. It's hard to tell. It looks like it is cut through the solder point. This one here, the solder just totally came off and it popped open. And the same thing happened with these and the other hits. These are rings we found on the ground. So some of these, I don't know. That's solder here. Wait. It did cut the actual rings. Sorry, excuse me, please forgive me. We're analyzing it with you as you're looking. That's solder at the top. Rings were cut by the very tip of the sword, but this actual tip is what cut it, not a large portion of the sword, like on the gambeson where you could get at least 2 or 3 inches in. we could only get a small portion of the sword where it has the most energy. Still think that was a lot of fun. At least it was a test. We're not saying that Maille's not a good armor. It's very good armor. Matter of fact, that wouldn't do anything to the opponent that I know of, except damage his Maille and probably upset him very badly because he would have to have it repaired or fix it somehow. Okay, what we have here is our silver-soldered Maille, the 16 gauge 5/16 inch rings, and this is a nice section that hasn't been damaged. And we had a viewer say that you can't chop through Maille even on a chopping block, or it just kind of sounds kind of weird to me if you put it over a piece of wood and hit it with a wood chopping axe. I think it would go through. Shear the rings just like you do with the actual shears. That's how you cut it in the first place if you're cutting round stock like this. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and try to hit it with a sword. We've got 16 layers of cloth under it as gambeson, and we know how tough that is from other videos, and just wood. But that could represent like a shoulder, collarbone, something like that. And the idea is we're just trying to see if it's possible with enough energy, if you can shear any of the rings, or does it just bend them or score them or what. And this isn't that tip cut like we did in the other video where we actually cut rings out intentionally. We weren't actually trying to damage the person so much as to see if we could damage the Maille. Let's see what we can do. And we didn't chop into the guy, but we did cut a ring. We cut some of the gambeson underneath it, but it looks like we actually got through more than one ring actually. Trying to examine this here. Remember, this was all sealed. I think I got a piece I can get out of here. That'd be interesting. We chopped through the ring. And he said you couldn't do that, and that's over wood with gambeson, but remember, you know, it probably wouldn't be that solid on the body and the shoulder wouldn't be that rigid. It's possible. I mean, the guy's not cut severely bad, but he might have some broken bones through that. I'm sorry, if it was right on a bone like that, I think the bone would have broken underneath from that kind of force it took to shear an actual ring. We actually cut through two and scored one really badly, it looks like. Not too bad. So that sword does have some energy. See that cut? Oh, we actually have a cut in the gambeson. And a nice indentation in the wood. What about a deep indentation in the actual wood? Ah! I think I came back, cut another ring. And I did cut it right by the cut through. Well, that one didn't seem to cut the gambeson, but we did cut the ring. Means it's more than plausible to cut a ring over a bone, possibly. Ah, somehow when it hit, it busted this one as well. I'm impressed. Don't know how it quite did that, because I guess there's a little niche here somehow, the way the gambeson is. It allowed it to cut one ring here and one ring there and damage that one. This one is close to cut through. It bounced around, I see. But anyway, none of this stuff would have cut him, that I can tell actually cut into him, but the damage to the bone would have been severe. And we're pretty sure the axe can do it quite easily if the sword is able to cut a few rings. But maybe the axe could do something more impressive, we can see. I definitely know the axe would probably break bones under most certainly, where the sword is kind of iffy, but it's possible. Depending on the bone you get, it doesn't have much flesh on it, and much gambeson. We could have thicker gambeson than this. We did make sure we had a little lighter gambeson on a bony area, which is probably not common, just so we have a good chance of cutting them, because the point was we couldn't do it. He said I couldn't even put Maille over a cutting board and chop it with a sword, and proved that was wrong. Anyway, let's go ahead and hit this with the axe and see what happens. Oh! Looks like that ring was cut, and you can see the solder is still there. That ring was cut, and the solder is still there. We lost two rings, and we chopped into it pretty good. But that just mostly damaged the Maille, but I guarantee you the bone under there would be, I wouldn't want to get hit with that. It's possible to cut the rings. Like I said, over something solid where they can't give. If they're able to give, like on the flesh and the body, like the abdomen, and over with lots of padding under it. Let's say we had more padding and less cloth, and it was thicker. this might not be happening and the guy's shoulder might be intact. But anyway, just to show it is possible to shear it in the proper circumstances, but this isn't really how it would be on a shoulder. More than likely, if anything, you would damage the shoulder from the impact. I hope you enjoyed it. It was just a reply to the gentleman who said you couldn't cut the mail over a chopping block. The videos I've talked about the cast blow, and Roland Morsecca believes this is what was done historically. The blade was thrown out. It can be done from behind a shield. It can be done in fencing. It can be done in all sorts of ways where you use the blade by throwing it out, and it's basically the centrifugal force that pulls it in the hand. And the pommel in the back in the earlier century swords, like the migration later swords and the Viking swords, would have a pommel where it was a T shape pretty much. Or in this case, we've got a Brazil nut pommel, but it catches the hand, so you don't lose it from the hand. Actually, this grip's a bit too long. But with the tip cut, I've cut through metal. I've cut through an actual really hard plastic material, and gambeson that way. It's the only cut that will work. On something like this, you can obviously see that if I try to walk up here, swing and hit it this way, it would be futile. No one in their right mind would try to cut through the hood this way. What we're going to do is we're going to try the tip shot and see if I can actually cut into it, much like the axe did with a sword cut. And this is about 19 gauge steel, which is about 1 millimeter. So I'll go ahead and test that out and see how it fares. That's from a tip shot, from a sword, hitting 1 millimeter steel. Now I know that most armor material was thicker than this, but as you can see, that tip of the sword can cut just as effectively as an axe, if accelerated properly. I'm quite impressed. Oh! And I left the blade in because I wanted to see the depth this time that we got. I remember that's a really tough material, tougher than gambeson in many ways. We got a good couple of inches all the way in, which is about as deep as we got with a lot of the spear thrusts from different types of spears, depending on what they were. Not bad whatsoever. And you can see those are all the way through. Right there. Ah!
Yeah!
The ice block test. And they said that a arming sword or longsword could not cut through ice. And if anybody watches this, you can obviously see that it looks like a cut, just like the katana did.
Guys, don't forget, like our channel, subscribe to our channel. Be sure to go out and check out Zombie Go Boom with Chuck Murray and his gang. Those guys are great. And be sure to donate to us at www.patreon.com/Thrand. And look for us on Facebook at Thrand and Elgram's Well Remembrance. Thanks a lot. Farewell.